All right, welcome back. I am super glad you're here. I have something awesome to show you. So it is almost a drawing-based curriculum, kind of, in a way. That's what I'm calling it, because it's a lot of pencil to paper stuff. Now, I'm very critical of it. It's an all-in-one. It is considered one of the best curriculums out there. Maybe that's why I'm so hard on it. But first, I have some awesome products of the day. So the first product of the day I want to show you is this one. I tried to take the sticker off. It is my first Bible picture cards. I bought it at Ollie's yesterday, which I'm on a no-buy thing, so I shouldn't have gone in there. But luckily, I only bought 2 things. And the other thing I'll show you tomorrow or the next video, because I try to do a video every day this year, and it is, or I don't try, I do. And it's pretty sweet. So take a look at this. This is my Bible first picture cards. So what this is, it comes with a bunch of cards, obviously. Comes with a story card. You read the story card. It's just one page, and then there's questions on the back so this is about Jonah and the whale, which I wish I could find this video. In Germany, we went on a ride and we went through the whale for Jonah and the whale, and it was kind of cool. But anyway, neither here nor there. So there is a whale. So my only complaint is these are all the picture cards, like that's it. And the stories are on like 2 sides. So the other story, this would be Daniel in the lion's den, and then she would find lion over here. So I mean, I don't think it's for toddlers. Like, it says my first Bible picture cards, but I don't think it's like, I mean, under 10, sure, under 8, I guess. But yeah, so then you just, in the Bible, who is thrown to the lions and survives, right? So it's almost reading comprehension. So I read this and then we talk about that. So it's kind of cool. I just wish they had more cards. That's what I wish, but I mean, I really like it. So that's one of the cool products I want to show you. On the screen too, I'm going to show you a couple things. One, I was playing magnetic chess with my kids today. Very fun. Very fun. When schooling doesn't take you a long time, as you know, a lot of you, it doesn't take you a long time either. It is you got a lot of time, and so we were playing magnetic chess. So hopefully, my other son was taking video. Hopefully we got a good video of it. And I wanted to show you is another idea I had. I don't know if this is a genius idea or a crazy idea. I don't know. But what I know is I started paying my son to do jigsaw puzzles and to do the solo games. You know how I have a ton of solo games, the smart brain games? Are they smart games or smart brain games? I think they're smart brain games. So that's him doing like the castle game, and he gets like 10 cents a board that he completes, like a page, right? And he was doing the asteroid game, and then I write it down in that book. And so, did I bring the book with me here? I wanted to show it to you because it's very simple. I just started it, and it's like, if money comes in, we check the in. If money goes out, we check the out. And then we check the description, and then you kind of have a new balance. I just don't know where to put the new balance because this isn't a genius system, okay? This is like a one-day system. And what I like about it is because these are things he can do that he's kind of interested in. So it's kind of creating that idea that choose a job that challenges you, right? And that you're interested in. So, and get paid for it. So that's what I kind of like about it. So I don't know if that's genius or I'm setting myself up, but he wasn't doing them anyway. So it's not like I took something he was doing for fun and started paying him for it. So I think it's okay, but we'll see. All right, so let me talk to you about a curriculum that I'm extremely torn over. Sometimes I really love it, and sometimes I think it has big flaws. Maybe that's it. It's got really good pros, but some really big cons too. So it's an all-in-one. Now, you can do the 4 to 5, the 6, it's split not as in 1 grade, 2 grade, 3 grade, grade 4, level 1, level 2. It's not split like that. It's split ages 5 through 6, ages 5 through 7, ages 6 through 8, ages 7 through 9. So I'll put them on the screen, but that's what it is. And I have those 3 years. So it's 3 years that I've done this. This is, I have like 10, 15, I don't know how many all-in-one curriculums that I have purchased to do. This is the 6 to 8. The 6 to 8 and the 5 to 7. If you're choosing between the 5 to 7 and the 6 to 8, always go 6 to 8. This will tell you that it's grade 2. It is so not. It's like grade 1 or kindergarten. It's not. It's a mixture of all different levels. So if you're torn between, should I do 5 to 7 because my child's 6? No, go 6 to 8. I'm telling you, it's too easy for most people. This is how it used to be. I really enjoyed this. This was your teacher's manual. There's 4 concepts, which means there's 4 teacher's manuals. and 4 student manuals. And this is what it used to be like. So this is what we did. A lot of times I would just put paper clips down of things that we had done or that I wanted to do. So this is culture. Now understand that this has like habitats and geography. It's got traditions, cultures. So it's got social studies. This is all language arts. It's got language arts. It's got pretty much everything mixed in. Their math program is like $200 at least for this, not this year, but the year after. It's like $200 a year. So that's a no to me. And I don't even know if it's that good because when I bought it, I only bought half the stuff and they wouldn't send me the other half. And their website is a big mess. So that is a downside to me. Their website is a huge mess. So that is a huge downside because when purchasing, I spent quite a bit of money and I still messed up everything. And it's a very difficult website. However, let me just explain to you. Okay, so this is cool. Let's take a look at some stuff. Hey, where in the world am I? I live on a home. This is where we used to live. We don't live there anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I live on a home in West Street. My home is in the town of. My town is in the state of. At the time, we were in province in Canada. In the continent of, and the planet of, right? 3rd planet from the sun. Now, there's always 2 options. Even in the older years, there's 2 options. One which is a little more difficult than the other one because it doesn't have these little pictures. If you look, these are these little pictures which are kind of like clues, right? So you see little pictures. So it does have some interesting things, bodies of water. So you see it's kind of like a drawing curriculum there. The largest oceans, largest body on earth, lake, the largest water on land. So this curriculum here this year, 6 to 8, I adore it. I love it. I think it's great. It does have flaws. One of its flaws being, well, let me show you this first. What are natural resources? And then and then you draw, like the paper goes to the tree, right? So that's kind of cool, right? We can all agree, kind of cool. Covers a lot of stuff. You can cut this all out and have a big map. Now, it's funny because it's called Moving Beyond the Page, but there's a ton of page work in here, but it's very fun. It's very enjoyable. We would sit down and we would just go through natural resources in the United States. You don't worry if you don't have this year, if you want to start this, I don't find that it really builds on it too much. It covers the same stuff. Like natural resources, we covered that in the year before, I recall. I thought I did, but we're definitely covering it in the next year. Okay, so this is cutting these out, I guess, and gluing these on, which I imagine activity 2, which they probably have an option to. They usually do. No, activity 3. Okay, so you're seeing that all the subjects are all mixed in here, right? Living resources, label each habitat, cut the living things and place them in the habitat where they would be found. Tree, camel, cacao plant, sled dogs, fine. All right, it's got books that go along with this. It's not a cheap curriculum. Weather on the continents, label the equator, color the warmest band red. So what it does though is this follows along here. So we're covering, it's going to talk about the 7 continents, which actually is right here. So label continents, cut them out and put them in order from smallest to largest, which my kids were never interested in cutting out and putting things in order. We would just, while we're eating, I will sit here and go, okay, you tell me, you go first. Okay, so which one's smallest to largest, or name these ones that the continents, right? And then they would name them and things like that. Okay, so kind of interesting. Farming, find an item in the house for each there is listed: a canned food, natural resources, farm. Okay. So, and then it's got your teacher's manual. It's got a little bit of information here. One of the problems with this curriculum is that occasionally it has you go search on the internet for stuff. I am fine searching on the internet if it's a research project. In one of these books, they have a research project where you're going to search on the internet for Queen Mary. Okay, then you're purposely going on the internet and searching it, and you're going to do it with your child. This is a great curriculum, especially if you only have one child, but even with 2, I don't find it that bad with 2 children. But 1, I think honestly, it's a huge bonding experience because you're cooking stuff, you're doing a lot of different activities. Has you doing some unrealistic things as well. But let me talk about next year's curriculum. All of a sudden you went from 4 books and 4 teachers' manuals, right? To, wait for it, let me show you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh my goodness. 24. This is now your teacher's manual and the student manual, because the point is that 7 to 9, they're supposed to start doing this on their own, reading. This is just my note as to what book goes with economic cycles. The good news is that you can purchase these subjects separately. Some of these I like, and some of these I think was a waste of money. This economic one I think is a waste of money. I don't think you should it's $20 and you get free shipping only if you spend $500 or more. So you would get, so it's $10 for, I put 3 items in a cart just to show you, just to see like online, like how much it is, just as a test. And it was $10 to ship. So, it's not the worst thing in the world, but that's just a price to consider when purchasing. Some of these books that also are quote unquote required for some of these things, you can't find in the library. Some of them you can. Look at the back here. Tornado, that book, Sarah Plain and Tall, who is Helen Keller. You can get those at the library. Charlotte's Web, The Family Under the Bridge, The Whipping. So I'm just not a huge fan of some of these books for this age, because the 7-year-old, like the 7 to 9, because my 7-year-old, there's no way I can read some of these. If there's anything stressful at all that goes on in any of these stories, my 7-year-old is too sensitive. It's not going to happen. The life cycles unit here was too easy. That's too easy. Like you don't know a life cycle. Come on, everyone can think of a life cycle. We don't need a whole book on it. Where is it? Let me just show you in here so you could take a look. So see what I mean is I'm always torn because, that one I didn't read yet. Where's the life cycles? Because we did the life cycle one. So, but now the life cycle book they have, again, it's a little too intense, just like their weather book. It's too intensive for life cycles. It's like several animals in their life cycles. You don't need to have that many life cycles, right? You just don't. But so it's got word box. Like, why do you need, and this is a problem I have with this curriculum, is why do you specifically need to know about the salmon and its particular life cycle? Like, it should be like just choose an animal and discuss its life cycle. You don't need to know the grasshopper, which I guess I'm just being picky. Which, fair point. Maybe I am. Describe the life cycle of living things. We all recognize that we all need food, air, and space to grow. You need a bit more than that, but yeah. Salmon parents are amazing. There's a video you can watch on it. So I just don't think it requires that many days for this at this point. Because at this point, like, imagine a 9-year-old's doing this and you're discussing, okay, I don't know, what's the life cycle of a, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it does have option 1 and option 2, and it says compare the life cycles of 3 animals you have learned about. See, they could skip all the other stuff and just discuss that. That way it's not wasted time. So there's a lot of wasted time that you don't, the insect life cycle. So as far as science goes, there's other science curriculums I like better. Butterfly craft, mealworms and ladybugs. Look at the wheels for mealworms and label each stage and color the picture. Why? Why do we need to know this? I don't understand. Life cycle puzzles. So some of it, like this particular one, I just think parts of a flowering plant. Yeah, sure, why not, right? The cycle of soil, that's kind of interesting. That's something that you don't see every day. Cut the stages of the nutrient cycle and glue them onto the blue and brown construction board to symbolize what happens below and above ground. Now let's go back to Life Cycles 5, Plants and Soil. Okay, so now having read several different curriculums, I'm going to tell you right now that this right here is explaining to you like carbon, oxygen, the cycle exploration, and the circle of soil. So you're supposed to just read that to your child, explaining the carbon cycle, which is essentially, let me explain it to you as I learned from Abeka, because it's a very simple science, which is when you breathe out and when animals breathe out, they're providing carbon dioxide to plants, which plants need. This book doesn't explain that easily. It just explains how carbon is, the building block of life. Now, everyone has carbon in them, and it's just not as simply explained as a picture is saying an animal breathing out, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just very simply. So they could have done it a different way, and I don't think it's really necessary to do this. Same with it's got food webs in here. So it has a lot of food webs, but we're over food webs. Like, who doesn't know by the time you get to B, I was thinking of doing that, but by the time you get to, you're 7, 8, and 9, like, you don't know what a food web is? Come on, everyone does, right? Food web. but you don't exactly know specifically who eats what, and you shouldn't waste your time knowing who exactly eats what, if you ask me. Animal parts, like talons. Yeah, so create a species, my new species. Yeah, that's exciting, right? So every book has an end of project thing. However, they don't have a review, which I don't like. Anyway, they just don't have enough review. If you ask me, I don't know. I just don't think it's sufficient. But I mean, I'm not saying the curriculum isn't sufficient. I'm saying I have big problems with it. And yet when I sit down and do it with my kids, they freaking love it. They do. They really enjoy it. And I really enjoy doing it with them. But I skip a ton of it. Like, it's a lot of wasted money. There's only some of these things I didn't hear. So I'm sorry if this is not helpful on any level. I don't know what else to say. I am always confounded every time I am faced with this curriculum as to whether I like it or hate it based on the cost. You're looking at $1,000 for a year for one kid. Yeah, but that's with the math. If you take out the math, it's $700. I don't know. But each individual book is only, like $20. Now, as an alternative to this, after going through the economic cycles, and I will show you an activity in here. So for example, it has, so it's got this money here. So look at the weekly budget, all right? So it's got two options if your child's older, if your child's younger. So how much money? So it says you've earned $425 this week. It's got cut out money here, and it's like, okay, have your child go pretend to be a plumber or something, and you're going to pay him money. And then, okay, this is how much weekly budget he has. So he has $125. Take that, divide it by monthly. And then your child's supposed to figure out how much they're supposed to allocate to these categories. So I get the concept. It's just, I think for 7, 8, and 9-year-olds, I think that's just too, I mean, how do you know how much? We barely as adults sometimes know how much to allocate per food per week. Like, we kind of get it, but do you know what I'm saying? Like gifts and toys and entertainment. Oh my gosh. Like, so I just don't think that's a good activity. So some of their activities in this year, I don't think they're that great. Like one of them, I'll show you in the next book. But first, as an alternative to this, now, this book that they do recommend is If You Made a Million. Now, this was soaked in a flood, so you'll have to excuse it. But I just want to show you, it's a good book, but you can get this book at some libraries. I have seen it. But all you're learning is that 10 cents makes for this much money, makes for this much money. Where is it? In here. So you're just learning how tall money is. So, for example, you've worked hard to earn $100. You decide to spend it on a plane ticket. You can pay with a $100 bill, two $50 bills, or $20 bills, right? So it's not that exciting a book, but it does show you through here this. So 1 nickel, and you don't have to go to the store and collect a bunch of money or fake money, which you can. I mean, now fake money, I guess you could buy it at the dollar store, not that hard to go through. So that's why I'm keeping this book, because I have read through it, but I mean, it's okay. It's much better than doing this is to read these two books. The Miraculous Pencil shows you all the work that goes into creating one product from all around the world. And Show Business, this is about an entrepreneurial. These are not Christian books, but they are, I believe Connor Boyack is a conservative. So economic-wise, if that matters to you, they're conservative, but they're not Christian. So they are open to everyone. But it does tell you, hey, look at all these products that go in to make a pencil. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Both of my kids like the Tuttle Twins book. Both of them like the Tuttle Twins book. This is about how they decide to open a store, and it talks about in here, it talks about equity share, investment capital, stuff like that. So that to me is much better and much more realistic, and they're more likely to remember it than this. But that's just, I mean, equilibrium. So decide if the supply is greater than the demand. If the supply is less than the demand, there is equilibrium. So 10 people are in a bicycle race. When you finish the race, there's a woman selling cold water bottles. She has 6 bottles. It's just, to me, these concepts are not necessary at this particular age. What would you do with $1? If I made $1, I would. If I made 5, I would. So kind of interesting, right? So I'm always torn with this. This is the problem I have with this. Here you're learning about capital resources or special tools, materials, equipment, machine, and building that are used. So each lesson, so lesson 4, big ideas, how does economic follow cycles, and then natural resources and human resources, okay? Now, so, but then you're supposed to take, it doesn't tell you answers for anything. So that I find a little frustrating. So here it's like, okay, so let's look at, what is this? Wants and needs. Discuss the difference between a want and need, obviously. We know that from, you know, the year before. You'll find 3 categories. She can label them, are they natural or capital? Natural being that, capital being special tools. Natural, capital. So a bottle of orange juice. Clothing. So I kind of get it, but I mean, see what I mean? Like I'm torn. It's interesting, but at the same time, services, things you will need. So I find a lot of it, I think it's interesting. And my kids enjoy it. What we've done so far, I'm going to show you something very cool. But this particular unit, I just don't like. And I wish they had, because now I have these stacks of books. One of the problems this curriculum has, besides not giving you answers for some stuff, which I'm sorry, would appreciate some answers, is telling me to go look up, like it says, go look at pictures on the internet of natural resources together. Or it doesn't say together, but yeah, have them go on to come up with a list of natural resources. Dude, why don't you just tell me that instead of sending me to the internet? I bought this curriculum so that I wouldn't have to go on the internet and search. Furthermore, when it sends them, it has a bunch of links that you can go to their website, to the Moving Beyond the Page website. But then it just sends you to so for example, it'll be like, okay, go to this link at our website, and then it just sends you to the United States government page on natural resources or something. Like, why don't you just tell me to go there instead of making me go sign, log in, and go to the middleman? Okay, so the book they chose with this is Maps and Mapping. And maybe because it's not that interesting a book, I tried to get my kids to read it several times. It's not that interesting a book. So that was a maybe. Now, I will tell you the materials box, it's always, if you order the materials box, it is the most organized box of materials I've ever seen in my entire life, and it makes Sunlight should be ashamed. Now, in here, it has a unit review sheet, always at the beginning, so it tells you the main points of what you're going to be discussing. Political maps, resource maps, physical maps, road maps, stuff like that, right? Now, in the beginning, is it in the beginning? In the beginning, gives you things you're going to be discussing. It always has, and this is so incorrect. It is so incorrect. I've never seen it. Language arts, reading and questions, 60 minutes. Language arts lessons, 60 minutes science. So no, this is all crap. I don't know where they get this from. It's so out of the realm of what goes on in this curriculum. I've done it for 3 years now. That's not even close. Okay, so let's go and let's talk right here. Non-renewable resources. Look at pictures of non-renewable natural resources on the internet and discuss how each resource is used. And then here. Look, go to these links, Moving Beyond the Page links. Why don't you just tell me, why don't you just put the Glacier National Park link in there, the Yellowstone National Parks, the Grand Canyon National Park, and the Carlsbad National Park? You know, like, why do I have to go through your website to get to it? Not only that, they've restricted use of the website. You get 18 months with it, according to the thing, which I still have access to it. I don't know why, but I'm glad I have it because I bought, several years worth. This is very cool. Now that I've said that, though, and I have a lot of complaints about this curriculum, when you sit down and do it with your kids, it is pretty enjoyable. But it doesn't have, it doesn't have any answers to anything. So just so you're prepared, there's not really any answers. However, I mean, it's stuff you figure out together. Okay, so this was cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, and then we did, we know that southwest is there because like last year we learned north, south, east, west, which fine, not hard. So what is located north of Stone Mountain? So you can put, there's like 3 answers, right? Wall Street, hospital, cafe, which body, so you get that, okay? I wrote that in today because we were just talking about it again because here's the compass rose. This is a map grid. So there's a map grid, and then there was another map that we were doing. Which maps? Using a map key. We know all about maps. Keys, very cool. This is a map scale. This is cool. Again, it's got an option 1 and an option 2, where 1 inch equals 1 mile, but here 1 inch equals 10 miles. So this is what we're working on today, and it's kind of fun. That's the problem, is when you sit down and you do these activities, they're not bad. They're pretty enjoyable. Like the doctor's office. So it's just teaching you how to read the map, right? The doctor's office. So how far is it from the grocery store to the fire department? You got to use the key to find the grocery store. And then you got to find the fire department, which I found it earlier. Fire department, how far? So that's an inch. So 1 inch equals 1 mile. So we can put 1. How far is it? So kind of cool. So that's why I'm always torn with this curriculum. So I'm happy I have it. But again, again, it's not necessary, that's for sure. And then it has you making, because due to resources and maple syrup, it has you making maple nut berry popcorn balls. You know me well enough by now. Ask me if I'm making maple nut berry popcorn balls. Nah, I don't do that stuff. It also has, it's a sad little natural resource product scavenger hunt. I think, is that the sad one? It's something where resources we use. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Discuss how people depend on natural resources found in their environment. For the next 24 hours, your child's going to make a list of all natural resources your family uses. A lot of activities are pretty unrealistic, if you ask me. So for the next 24 hours, okay, so after 24 hours, she will write a sentence of how each resource was used and a sentence that explains where the resource come from. For example, the natural resource is gas. She could write, gas is made from oil that comes from the ground, and we use gas to drive cars. Let's go on to page this. I read this activity a few times to see what's going on. Okay, so natural resources, I guess we can put wood, and it's complete a web. Well, what things does wood make? Okay, but then, I don't know, I just wish it had some answers or some examples. I get it, like how lazy am I, or I understand that, but when you're balancing so many things as a parent, and you've got a couple different kids, and you have a lot, different events going on, different activities, like, just give me the answers. This is making maple syrups. This is just how they make maple syrup, and you can cut those out and put them in order. Again, we'd sit here and be like, okay, how do you put them in order? Maple nutberry popcorn, which there's no way on God's good earth I'm making that. I'm just not going to do it. Okay. Conserving natural resources. So here we go, conserving natural resources. So this is interesting. See, so it has a lot of interesting elements to it. So if there's just certain books you want to try, okay, like that land one, very interesting. Okay, well, there you go. I hope that helped a little bit. Okay, I'll update you as we continue on with this progress. Bye-bye.